All right, guys, we are back with our roundtable discussion here of the events leading up to the Strongest Man on Earth at the Shaw Classic 2024. The next event we'll be talking about today is the keg toss for max height. So this one is a interesting one. 15 kilos, 33 pounds, maximum height with this one. And I think this one's going to be very, very fascinating with the guys in the lineup that we have. The keg toss setup that we will have at the contest it's pretty cool. I have to say, I've been, we haven't shared a lot yet. Maybe at the point this video is out, we have shared more. But the build is going to be really, really cool in the way that it's adjustable. Everything is 100% dialed in. I know some of the keg toss setups that all of us have used in the past haven't been maybe the best. And, it's interesting. I just want to get this out of the way first. So they did have a max keg toss throw at World's Strongest Man this year, right? And some of the guys did break the record, which I did hold. It was all I want to say is a very interesting choice of height that they did, because I had 7.75 meters and they chose to go to 7.76 meters, which just if you do the math is not even half an inch, right? Not even half an inch, right? So the argument could be made possibly that in 2021 we did it out of dirt. This year was done on a platform, which was a good change. I will say that. It's just, could you dial it into half an inch, right? I don't know. It's an interesting question. You guys don't need to respond to that, but I promise you our setup will have dialed in here. And, the guys that, did break the record this year, there was 3 of them that tied, which was fascinating. So we had Tom Stoltman, Mitch Hooper, and Wes Durinsky. But coming with this contest, you're adding Hofthor, which, he's an incredible thrower. And then actually, Maxime Boudreau is an interesting one as well. You've got Evan Singleton, who did pretty well. I mean, he got 7.5 meters at World's Strongest Man as well. So the pressure on this type of event is going to be fascinating, because as the bar goes up and you have to perform, the pressure goes up tremendously, right? You walk out there and it's all on your shoulders to get it done, right? And with throwing, I've always been fascinated by this, because you have to actually stay calm. You need to stay loose. It's not an event that you can grip and grind, and the tighter you get, typically the worse you throw, But it's one of those ones. I want to get your guys' insight into it, and what your thoughts are, and potential strategy, what mind games the guys might play, stuff like that.
Are you doing the free throws per height as?
Yeah, so we will. So it'll be the way the apparatus will work is, we were actually trying. What I wanted to do is I wanted to have it as a bar that you would do your turn and we would move the bar as you were going, right? So we would have set heights, and then you could jump in whenever you wanted to, and one guy would take his entire turn. So through our testing, I don't think that will work, just with the way we have to adjust it. And I don't want to get caught up where there's any potential mistakes made where the bar is set to the wrong height and then this guy threw it over this height or that. Like, I don't want any of that to come in. So what we will do is have it done the way it's been done, where the guys will all come out. They'll all be on the floor right there. It'll be a 30-second clock. We'll have 3 kegs for them to throw. So they'll have 3 attempts within that 30 seconds if they need them. Obviously, make it over, the bar goes up. So we'll go in rounds, but I think what we will do is allow them to jump in or out if they want to, right? So if they want to start at a lower bar height and say, hey, I just want to get one out of the way, feel it out, and I know that I can jump the next bar height, they can jump in or out. So they don't have to throw more than they need to.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually extremely exciting at World's Strongest Man this year, that event. And also, obviously, I was there when you broke the record last time. I believe we did it in Botswana as well, 2016.
16, yeah. Well, I remember the adrenaline in 21, man, was pretty crazy.
Yeah, no, it was yeah, it was a really exciting event. And it was again this year as well. And obviously, like you said, we've got Hooper, Wes, and Tom all there, but then adding 4 into the mix as well, obviously change the dynamics even more. So I think it's a fantastic event, and I mean, I think it's very likely we'll see a world record on that one. Like you said, I think, you know, the margins. The thing is, like when you threw your world record, how, you know, did it necessarily clear? Did you throw it that high, or did you clear the bar? You know, you cleared the bar, so it's kind of, you know, that extra centimeter is almost irrelevant. You know, it's kind of an interesting one, and I think, obviously, like you said, the pressure's going to be on a lot of them, and it's just going to be who goes out there and can hold their nerve and deliver on the day.
What was
with this event is when it gets to that, you know, nail biting position where you've got the last few guys in, and the bar is set so high that not only the height but the trajectory becomes so important, because a lot of these guys can have the power to get it high enough, but you've got to get it over that bar. It doesn't mean anything if it just goes up and comes straight back down. So being able to, as Brian said at the start, stay relaxed, keep your technique and form so that you can still get that arch going over the bar, so important, and so easy to make a mistake with.
Yeah. I think it's going to be really interesting, you know, to see how these guys perform on a really proper setup, you know, not a makeshift bar and platform. And, you know, some of the stuff we've had over the years where you're afraid you're going to lose your footing when you really go to throw. You know, so I think that is really going to better your odds of seeing multiple guys break the world record.
Yeah, I was in 2021. I remember specifically asking if we would have a platform to throw off of. And it was a big deal to me. The reason was I practiced that technique where I would step back, jump back, plant my feet, and then throw. And I had done that in training so many times, right? Repeat. So I could do it exactly the same way there. And then when I walked out there, it was dirt. And I was like, you got me in dirt. Like, how am I going to get my footing right here? Because I'm jumping back, and I was really trying to put a lot of force into the ground to have that effect of coming down and exploding back up. And I remember it, like it for a second, it really threw me off, because I was like, man, I don't think my feet are going to stay. And then I was thinking, well, you know, do I change my shoes at the last minute and get something that has like more of a turf type of bottom to get a little bit more grip on that dirt? It was wild, man. Like that really threw me off. So if the guys can practice something like that, I know some of them really like standing in one spot and throwing, but I think that this is something where the technique of the throw, if it's repeatable, right? You have to have it dialed in where it's repeatable, and you can do it the exact same way every time. And like Lauren said, trajectory is of the highest importance, right? Because it doesn't really matter how powerful you are if you are throwing it too far back. You've got to get it where you can throw that keg pretty much straight up and come pretty much straight back down, so you're not losing any energy. But again, that was where, you know, for me, I trained this. Actually, what I would do is I would do a kind of like a repeated thing. So every minute, I would have it count down. A beep would go off, and then I would have to throw it again, and then throw it again, and throw it again, and then I would just video that to see where the keg would go and where it would land. So the landing point of the keg was actually really important to me with the training of this. So it's like I could do that, no problem, repeatable. And so when you saw me out there, what I did in the dirt is I actually put a rock where my starting point was going to be, right? So I drew a little line, and I hit a rock on the set, if you will, of where we were going to throw it, just so I knew where to start, so I could step back correctly and then throw from where I wanted to, right? So it's hard though when you get the lights in the arena and that bar is so high, right? Like, and it's different from the crowd perspective compared to the athlete, because you don't want to be too far away from the bar, but you also don't want to be too close, you know? So the guy is like figuring out where to throw the keg from. You can tell when somebody has practiced this adequately, because they know they're either taking steps off of the bar, or they know where they're going to throw from.
Yeah, I think as well it'll add to the effect of it being in the arena, because I don't think perhaps when you're away from the keg toss or anything like that, I don't think you can really appreciate how high it is until you're sort of like right close to it. I think the fact that we'll see the roof and everything else, I think it's going to add to the effect of the event because it's going to make it look as impressive as it actually is, if that makes sense. I think sometimes it gets lost a little bit, especially watching it on TV. It gets lost how high that bar really is. I know from sort of my experience of doing it, I think Botswana was the last time I did it, standing underneath it. And I was just thinking to myself, oh my God, that is so high. Like it's, it's so far beyond what I've been thrown over in training. It was just ridiculous. So it kind of messed with my head a bit. And I think it's going to be great for the crowd to get to experience that sort of right up close and see just how impressive these guys are at throwing.
What went through your head? For all you guys, like what went through your head with the keg toss? Like whether it was for max height or just like a series, like what would you think about in a big?
Mine was always you said a statement was hurry but don't rush. That's what I'd be telling myself as when we were doing a series. I'd always tell myself that because it was like, I know that I need to move fast, but if I start moving too fast, that's when I'm going to make mistakes. And obviously, like you said, try and stay loose. But the main one for me was move fast, but don't rush anything because that's when I'm going to mess these up. And I mean, I always had a bit of a love-hate thing with keg toss because I was either really good at it or really bad at it. There was no sort of middle ground. So that was mine.
I was literally relief if something went over. I was absolutely shit at this event when we were competing. I actually got a lot better at it after I finished competing because I managed to get a setup in my gym and started training it just more from a coaching point of view. And I was better. I'm better at it now than I was when we were competing.
That's awesome.
But it's one of those that it didn't come up that often in strongman comps back then. We're seeing it a lot more now. And I think, as you said, Brian, the guys, if they want to do well on this, need to be well prepared and well trained. There's no more of you just turn up and see what you can do on the day. These are all professional athletes. They need to be as well prepared on every single one of these events. And, if I was doing it again and had my time again, I would make sure I've got every bit of kit and come in as well prepared. Back then, it was a little bit different. The prize money wasn't the same. Me and Terry have had battles for a beer. It's a little bit different now when you see what is up for grabs. So they're a lot more professional, and you want to make sure you're well prepared on every single event.
You guys, with this one, obviously, I think we've got our top names with the Hofthor, Tom Stoltman, Mitch Hooper, Wes Drawinski, because they proved it, right? Which guys do you think need to salvage points here, really, right, in those lower heights? Like, I think it's always easy to get caught up in the top battle, like who's going to throw the top weight. But again, if walking down to the lower heights, it's like who can go a little bit higher, like a Matt Ragg or a Avars, for example. Avars Smoxels, we haven't mentioned his name yet, but I mean, he's pretty good at this. But can he?
He's good. This is an important one for Maxime, I would say. Yes, Maxime needs big points on this, and he's a very good thrower. I think we all know Maxime will probably struggle on the deadlift, but I think the good thing for Maxime at this event is 8 events gives him a time to claw his way back into the competition. And he is one of those athletes. Like, it wouldn't surprise me to see him top 3 on this event. He's a very good thrower.
The one that shocked me at World's Strongest Man was Kordiaka. I kind of expected him to be a little bit better. I think he just messed a few throws up at World's Strongest Man, didn't deliver. I think that we could, because he's got all the attributes to be good at it. He's very explosive. He's tall. He's got long limbs. He should be good at it. So I think that we could see a big performance from him on this event as well. If he's gone away and gone, right, I've got to practice this because he should be good at it. I think we could see a big performance from someone like him as well.
It could be a big one because potentially
what happened.
But if he comes out and does really well at that press medley and has a good performance on this, he can kind of put himself back into running, point wise, help himself out a little bit. So this could be a big one for Pablo, but it's going to be big for a lot of those guys in there, like Avars and Rag and Andrade and all those guys. Like, everybody's going to be battling for points on this. Definitely guys that were started off behind, these second and third events, you got to catch up, so they're going to have good performances here if they have any chance of be any kind of talks for top 5, top 10 at the end of the weekend.
Totally makes sense. Well, keg toss for max height. Will we see a new world record set? I would love to see it, right? Like the energy. I know the crowd is going to get pumped for this one, and it's going to be insane for the guys competing. A lot of pressure, but the cream always rises to the top, man. So it'll be interesting to see who can put up a great performance. If you are interested in checking out anything about the weekend, we'll leave a link below the video. Appreciate these guys joining me today. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We're going to have more of these videos coming out leading up to the contest, highlighting all the events.